Greetings, dear ones. Happy Friday, May 6th. Here on the East Coast, a kind of gray, wet day, but it's allowing so much to blossom and to move forward in their growth that I always enjoy those days as well. So today is a very interesting title, End Times and New Beginnings. And we are actually in that point or in that process right now. And there are so many indicators of that. While it may look very scary and it may be very physically and energetically uncomfortable, the old must deconstruct or fall apart in order for the new to be created. And each one of you, each one of us is creating anew with our choices, with our decisions, with our desires, with our wishes. And those of you who have been following these episodes know that we've been in such a period of magic and miracles and spiritual connections and opening of psychic powers for this past month and more. All the planets are in the forward direction. None of them have been in retrograde. We had a very, very powerful partial solar eclipse, and we're coming up on the 15th, 16th of a lunar eclipse that we all here in the United States are going to be able to see and feel even more acutely. And some of the indicators or helpers this week have been surrounding dark matter. Those of you who know my work know that much of it is based in cutting-edge science and theories that are daily being proven as far as physics, quantum mechanics, biology, geology. Things are being rapidly discovered and advances made. Articles that I will try to post for you, but right on the heels of many articles about the microplastics that are in our bodies, in our lungs, in our waterways. And then from other sources entirely, I receive information of certain universities that have discovered, for example, one university has discovered how to utilize plastics to capture carbon emissions. So in those towers of factories where they're releasing in the air carbon emissions from the production of whatever they're making. And if they line the towers with that, or the smokestacks, or whatever they're called, then it can actually capture the carbon. Others, that there are bacteria that can chew or eat and benefit from plastics. So we do have solutions for cleaning the air and the water and our bodies and our land. But it is up to us to make those choices, and that's the creation. And that's why one of the very strong factors this week is dark matter. And again, more and more is being found surrounding dark matter, or at the very least, what it's not. And for me, one of the theories that has come forward within, I believe, the past year has been that dark matter is actually information. It's a fifth type of matter, if you will. And that makes very much sense with all that the ancients, the Council of Intergalactic Beings that oversee and kind of guiding this process of evolution for the Earth, and who I've been channeling and working with for 20-something years. And it really dovetails with the information that I've been receiving. And that means that that's kind of the unmanifest. It is, because dark matter, according to science, makes up, I believe the number is something like 95% of our universe. There's only about 5% that is actual matter and can be seen or measured. And that means that all the rest is there available to us to be able to create the reality. It's recognized by many different disciplines at this point that consciousness not only affects but can create or recreate this reality. And that means that it's very excuse the pun, it's very plastic, that it is very malleable, it is very it's full of potentialities and possibilities. Of course, much of my information comes, and confirmations and validations come through media, particularly movies, computer, etc. And I'm flipping channels, and of course, Men in Black is on. I'm stopping because it is such a treasure trove of concepts and ideas and widening of our perception of what is possible and what is out beyond our little planet, and in such a fun way, of course. And Men in Black 3 is about moving through time. They go back in time, and there is a character in the movie called Griffin, and he is, let's see if I hope I can remember the exact description. He is a fifth dimensional being that can visualize and live in an infinite set of time, space possibilities. And so he's, interacting with the stars in the movie and says, oh, if this is the reality we're in that does such and such, oh no, it may be the reality that does, that ends in this way or has this outcome. So there are many different, today, May 6th, is the day that the second Doctor Strange comes out. And it has to do with multiverses, and we have Spider-Man Into the Multiverse, and other movies that are bringing these ideas forward to allow us that expansion of what is possible and what we can do. And although it looks very dark and very dim and very insurmountable odds to this occurring, so too was the development of this particular planet. The synchronicities that had to occur for its creation is literally mind-boggling. And we have this moment in time to evolve what we've been exploring previously into another level of that exploration without some of the lowest, crudest, most primal aspects of human nature. Another one of the helpers this week is the jackal, which has strong representation in the Egyptian pantheon of gods and mythology. Although, again, from my experience and that of many, it is not mythology, but in fact truly were existent, of beings that were beyond our current capabilities, that were here on the planet, interacting, helping, guiding, teaching. And the jackal in the Egyptian pantheon was anciently a being who tenderly cared for and very gently handled and tended to before the crossed over person reached Ma'at, which is the goddess that weighed their soul against a feather to determine whether they were worthy of moving on into the afterlife. Later on, the jackal became, or rather the god with the jackal head became more of a being that oversaw the mummification of people and pharaohs, etc., the mummification process itself. And these endings, and talking about the deathing or the ending of things. One of my clients this week had her mother just recently passed, and she went on a vacation because, between that and her extremely busy work schedule, she was just needing to relax and to breathe for a little bit. And it coincided with a wedding that she was going to in Europe, and stayed at this most beautiful resort in Italy, and was really able to refurbish herself and regenerate from the land there. And went to visit a nearby town, Florence or city, and she had visited it before several years ago, and we had to do a great deal of work because in visiting one of the churches there, her energy field became very, very affected and twisted, and she came back, and for weeks before she was able to see me, she was in great discomfort. And we did tap in at that time to some of the factors that might have been influencing her energy field. And she was not on the plans, but called to go to Florence to show her boyfriend, and again kind of followed guidance and couldn't even remember the name of the church or where it was, but she did locate it. And when she went in, she did a ceremony there for those in her life that had passed, and some other beings. And she brought this information, we read what she was doing and felt into it. And she was going through this time a completion of an existence connected not so much to the current church, but to a previous chapel many, many hundreds of years before, even 1,000 years, excuse me, before this current church was built. And it was not a great existence. She was not in integrity with herself. She was a man at that point, a church official. And this was a completion of the acts and choices that she made at that point in time. And the level of peace and filling of her with spiritual and energetic enlightenment or lightening of her being was truly amazing. And she had done a great deal of work with some of the issues from her childhood and really completed and ended those prior to her mother's passing. So again, this ending and completion is a renewal and a regeneration or a renovation, which is why the Phoenix has been so very strong this week as well. And in working earlier in the week with a group of colleagues, the facilitator was channeling the Anasazi, which is an ancient peoples in the Southwest. Later, many have theorized that they were, again, another type of alien, if you will, or other planetary beings that came to teach and guide and lead the peoples that were living on that land at that time. Again, thousands and thousands of years ago. Because they have found some of the settlements of the Anasazi, which are way high up in the rock cliffs for the most part. But they're very, very small. And then there are other buildings of the Anasazi that seem to be quite a bit later, and they're more human measurements. You know, they fit human living conditions. So whatever you believe, as the Anasazi were coming forth in this group of colleagues, and a very particular canyon, beautiful canyon in the southwest, that has very magical properties and seems to be much like the movie Brigadoon, that it comes and goes in and out of our time-space continuum here. And so this group of colleagues were working with multiple universes. And I'm, again, flipping channels that night, just trying to relax and find a movie, and Doctor Strange was on. So it was very fascinating that, again, he's working at that time. The Ancient One was able to give him an experience of multiple universes beyond ours, and that there are many dark, and they are based in a more destructive, more a lower level, if you will, of existence. And again, bringing back in this, you know, that lower level of existence ultimately ends in destruction, unlike other universes based in more creation. Ours is a dualistic universe where both are here, both are real, both are true, both are beneficial, and both are from the same source. There is just merely a difference in their form. Each of them have the right to exist and be fulfilled. This particular universe has a greater preponderance of creative energy, but it can be, you know, it can be changed. It is up to us to choose which type of universe, planet, existence we want to live in. So this group of colleagues, we were working with just that. Things completing, ending, new beginnings, etc. Not so much in that wording. And again, after watching a little bit of Doctor Strange, I'm flipping channels, and there was a movie with Omar Sharif, who is and always has been one of my favorites. I hadn't seen him in a long time. Decided I'd just stop and take a look at him before I moved on to the movie I'd planned to watch. And the movie was set in the Southwest, which is, of course, where the Anasazi are from, and not only in the Southwest, but very specifically in that particular region that we were working with as colleagues. And the Canyon de Chelly, a lot of it was filmed there. And so I continued to watch this movie, and not because of the movie, but because of the settings. You know, it was all over the Southwest, and beautiful rock beings, and you know, vistas that I miss and are very connected to. So as I'm watching this, and I have not been able to find the answer, but at the end there is a great earthquake, and a canyon is apparently destroyed. The common knowledge or rumor is that the movie company bought or was able to somehow have the canyon judged unsafe, or it was judged unsafe. They purchased it and they destroyed it. And it was very, very difficult to watch this magnificent canyon of what are very, very apparently stone beings. And we'll talk about that on another day, but everything is alive. Everything has or is in process of moving from a living three-dimensional experience into somehow crossing over into, or not somehow, or crossing over into another existence. And so these magnificent beings, I am hoping that it was just special effects, but this was 1969 and the special effects were not as good as what it seemed to be in the movie. And as I'm watching this, I'm doing crossover practices for that particular group of beings represented there in the canyon. And the Anasazi, they actually filmed an Anasazi settlement or dwelling up high in the cliffs. And so it continued. That was actually the same day of working with this group of colleagues. And later that night or the next morning, on my feed, there was an article about the war in Ukraine decreasing or limiting the amount of uranium, because that's one of the things that was mined there. And that now there are mining companies that want to go into these sacred places in our Southwest to be able to mine uranium. So what does that all have to do with you? This is current. This is going on right now. That was the beautiful guidance trail that led me to this current knowledge. And we can choose. We can become aware of. We can watch the articles. We can watch the laws. We can see who is voting for the mining companies or who is paid by the mining companies to vote in Congress and or the Senate for this mining process to go forward. We have power in this country. We have the ability to choose to decide what goes on with our land, our water, our air, our food, our bodies, our lives. So I really invite you to allow this time of magic and miracles of, and in particular, spiritual connection, psychic ability, expansion, your ability to receive information. It is not necessarily just a nice little voice in your head or your ear that's going to tell you, do this, do that. It may take a bit of effort. It may take a bit of involvement and cooperation with you picking up signs and signals and, putting it together. This potential is right here for evolution. Either an ending of this beautiful Earth project or a new way, a new beginning, a new Earth that you fully have power to design. And that's what, again, I'm going to be opening the registration for the personal and planetary redesign group. It's going to be beginning, what is this? This is May. It's going to be beginning the latter part of May, beginning of June. I will give you the dates, post the dates up here. And that's where, as a group, we can combine our knowledge, our energies, our gifts, our abilities, and exponentially make the changes that we want to see. Not by imposing our will or deciding how it should be, but sitting deeply in what we desire and wish for, and working with the barriers or impediments to our clear feeling of the right to do this, the right to choose. Because when we're young, we learn how to shut down our innate information, our internal compass, our direct guidance from our souls, because it clashes with the reality that we're living in. And now, at this point in time, we have such potential to open that up again, to receive direct information from our soul, not have to go through an intermediary, not have to rely on someone else to determine it or do it for us. It is so exciting. And so, for example, in this discovery of the current threat to sacred Southwest lands and the people that have lived on this land and brought forth beautiful teachings and continue to hold those teachings for us until such time as we wake up and decide that we can be in relationship with and cooperation with and collaboration with all of the many beings and aspects of this earth. We don't have to destroy and end and use and deplete the resources and obtain power and control over others. That's what's going on in Ukraine, is the attempt to, as has been done throughout history, eradicate the identity of a people and thereby completely control and own their land, the knowledge that is in that land, the resources, the connections to other existences, because there are sacred places on this earth, portals, vortices, that can open to other realities. We have within us that same ability. So if you'd like to explore the different realities that are within you, if you'd like to explore other existences that you have, I won't say have had, because that's a very linear way of looking at it, but people refer to past lives or other experiences. That is one of the things that comes through when clients are working in the intense and powerful sessions of metamorphosis that I offer. So if that's something that is of interest to you, if that's something that you'd like to work with, if that's something that you would very much like to incorporate into your daily life, then please do. Let's connect and talk about the possibilities. So the theme right now, again, I would ask you to send some awareness and knowledge to this area of the Southwest, and I would invite you to find out what your congressmen and senators are voting for in regard to mining in the area of the what would be Canyon de Chelly, not in Canyon de Chelly, that's a national park, but national monument. But there are other areas that the indigenous peoples of the Southwest have held as sacred for many years, and there's information and energy and portals and vortices all over that land. So it is very, very important that we protect it and make it unavailable to those who would ravage it and destroy in the interest of power and money, and again, are we going to utilize and end the resources on this planet, or are we going to find different ways to have the lifestyles that we want, but without the detriment to other peoples, other lands, other ways, other cultures? So that's what is here this week. We're going to be dropping in right now and allowing all of the many helpers that I mentioned and more. But I leave you with a question, and you can take this into our internal exploration or travels, or you can contemplate it and sit in your own quiet time. What is it? What must end for you to have a new beginning, to have a new way of being, perhaps with your body, perhaps in relationships, perhaps in your work, perhaps in your environment, perhaps in your stepping into the more of who you are? What must end for you to move into the new? I would love to hear your observations and your thoughts and feelings on that. Please post them here or on YouTube, where all of these Ancient Future Wisdom episodes are. And in that sharing, we are creating. So the more you bring it out into the world, whether in writing it, posting it in this group, we have a large container with so many beautiful and powerful people participating in this. I invite you to bring your desires and bring your idea of what must end for you in order for a new way to occur, and watch the energy of this group help you make that happen. So, without moving out of this alchemical mixture of energetics and current experiences and current events that are going on in our world, we want all of that in this alchemical container, because, or in this container of sacred geometrics, because it is that alchemy, it is that blending and crashing and rubbing together of what appears to be ending or destructive, and along with the wishes and the desires and the dreams, that the energy is available for the physical manifestation of those desires and wishes. And that's why I always invite you to sink deep down and within, because there is the universe within you, and it allows you to reconnect with that innate, which is found about 3 inches or 3 finger widths below your bone that brings the ribs together. And that's your gut, so to speak. So when you need to make a choice, a decision in your life, go there. The more you're able to practice that direct information from your inner wisdom, from your soul. Your head can fool you. Information in your head has to be filtered through the defense system, and that can give you some untrue information. This, your innate, will always be true. That's why we have the expression, a gut feeling. So as we're sitting deeply in this container, allow yourself to sit firmly and deeply on your chair, the couch, whatever you may be sitting on. And and feel your legs on the chair, feel your buttocks, find your sits bones if you can. Sometimes moving a little bit of the tissue away from them helps. And allow your energy field that certainly in most cultures and here in the West, we tend to push our energy fields upwards in an attempt to handle things, figure it out, do it with our mind and our will and our sheer force. And that is an old way, and that is a habitual way for coming down in, bringing your energy field down and inside of you, will also cause you to feel the emotions that are within you. But in this particular moment, we are going in a different way. We are settling, we are allowing that energy field to drop down and within our body so that we are more whole with ourselves, within ourselves. And for that, you must let the mind go and simply sensate, feel, literally, physically, energetically, sensating your body, your energy, your internal experience. For all the answers are within. All the information you ever need is within. All the skills and abilities and tools are within you. For you are so much more than you know. You are such a vast and wide being with an accumulation of countless existences in this universe, not to mention others. Allow yourself the delicious, wondrous breath within to feel this expansiveness and vastness of who you truly are in your inner verse. As I'm speaking, I'm transmitting energetics that can assist you and allow you this lowering of your energy field to infill your body. You need not follow my words intellectually or with your mind, for I am speaking only to transmit and allow your body and energy field to feel, to sensate. In this moment, so that you may drop in more and more, allowing for the discovery and revelation of yourself to yourself. And as we sit deeply in this container, with the offering of dark matter as potential, as possibilities, as the unmanifest for you to create what you desire. As we have one of the most prominent gods of Egyptian teachings and wisdom, tenderly, gently tending to and caring for those parts of you that must end, that must die, be transmuted, allowing for newness within you, new life of aspects of you. Your body, your energy field, your wider self know exactly how to lead you, to bring you down and within. For an inner journey. No work, no effort on your part needed. Simply allow, simply soften, simply sensate whatever you are experiencing. Letting your mind and your third eye fall away for a very different process of finding you. Phoenix energy is now stepped in. And not only was prominent in my meditations this week, but in working with a client, she happened to be in a car, and where she chose to park became surrounded with cardinals. A present-day bird that has representation of from the phoenix. Sitting deeply within allows you to have a more direct line of communication with your helpers. that can then bring you, guide you, lead you, show you, teach you in this outer physical world. And now the amazing, magical, and fluidity of time and space from Canyon de Chelly is blending and mixing within this crucible of alchemy. Simply allow yourself to feel the experience, even if it feels like you're dozing off or falling asleep. You may well be dropping into a deeper, altered state, wherein powerful movement and possibilities present. As much as it may appear that we are heading for an ending of this world, of this earth, and the various reports and news items, it is, in fact, the ending of the old way. The old form of the Earth project we have been exploring for thousands and thousands of years, tens of thousands of years. The ancients are here. They are saying, "Fear not, dear ones. The spiral of life is a constancy of endings and beginnings. Life will always go on. How and in what form greatly depends upon your choice as a soul. Presenting in the physical as a human. Never forget that this universe is a universe of free will. And it has always been up to your choice of how you want to live in it, exist in it, explore it. What you are currently experiencing is merely the exploration of a dualistic structuring within a very crude framework. The evolution through which you are passing will allow you to explore at a much more refined level of human existence. In combination with the many beings on this particular planet. Those you experience in nature and physical earth. Allow yourselves to be led even deeper into this container of endings and beginnings, so that you may benefit from all that is here, all that is occurring at this point in time. So to become a more refined version of yourself. Incorporating or physicalizing more of who you are beyond this confining set of physical parameters. Andrea likened it earlier in the week to a human attempting to fit into the body of an ant. While this analogy allowed for her client to sensate his experience, it would be more accurate to describe who you are as a being by likening it to fitting the entire earth into an atom. This is the vastness within you. This is what you have available to you. It is true that you are the designers. Everything that exists in this universe is part and parcel of that design and participates in how, when, and in what form it will continue. Or not. That is up to you. That is the freedom of will that you have. And as you experience this vastness within you, you know this on the deepest levels of your being. And as you luxuriate in this vastness and potentiality of you, in this world, you will continue to have physical, energetic, and of course spiritual memory of what it feels like inside you. Particularly as the process of returning from your travels, moving from this non-physical or less physical experience back to a third dimensional, daily walk within the physical parameters of Earth, in this particular time-space reality. Allow yourself to flow with the way and pace and timing of that integration. For you are a unique being that must listen to your own internal guidance of when and how and at what pace is best for you. If you choose to stay in this energetic, know that whenever you open your eyes and move back into your daily or day-to-day world, your system will be fully integrated and all that you experienced incorporated, physically incorporated within you. As always, I remind you to drink plenty of water, and you can continue these energetics as you sleep or go into quiet time, still time, and listen as many times as you like to the second half of today's recording, for it will allow you to practice that sinking and deepening within you, to have the direct line of communication from your soul to your human self. Please keep me posted as to your experiences, and of course any questions I am happy to answer as well as possible. And please keep your eyes and ears and your energetic eyes and ears open for how your helpers and the other parts of you are bringing information. It can be in so many different ways: symbol, sound, shape, song title, story, book, legend, myth, movie, memory, cartoon, character from book or history. Everything is here for you and with you. And as always, it is with the deepest of honor, gratitude, and love for your presence here on this planet. Until next time, bye.